Yo, I'm up here. Back again. So you guys enjoyed that little halogen versus LED versus HID comparison that we did last week. And we're gonna kind of up the ante a little bit because I know there was a couple people out there who said, well, you know, how does it work when you put it in a reflector? And of course, reflector-based headlights are still extremely common today. If that wasn't so much the case, there wouldn't be too much of a retrofitting industry. But having said that, what we're going to do is we're going to run kind of like the same comparison with the stock halogen H4 bulb, a H4 LED high-low bulb, and also an H4 Morimoto by Xenon bulb. But like I said, we're going to up the ante a little bit, and we're going to compare all three of those. And then we're going to put a Morimoto Mini D2S 4.0 by Xenon projector into that reflector, show you how easy it is to put that in, and then we're going to compare those three options to the retrofit. And that way you can see how all of those PNP type options compare to the king, the top of the totem pole, a projector retrofit. So here we are in the warehouse. I don't know why the hell I'm all the way up here, but you know, let's do it. Let's get some parts and we'll have at it just like we do for you every week. All right, cool. So not too much of a little introduction here needed, but of course we have our H4 halogen bulb over here on the left. That's going to serve as the baseline for our test, since that is what the Tundra headlight that we're going to be running this test on is designed for. Next to that, we have the Morimoto XB by Xenon bulb. This is a high and low HID bulb, very common, been around for a long time, extremely bright. We're going to see how that works in the headlight. Next to that, Profile Peak H4 LED bulb. This also has a high and a low beam, a little bit more modern. Of course, it's based on CSP LED chips, which is pretty new, also very popular. And next to that, we have our Morimoto Mini D2S by Xenon projector, which will be powered by a D2S bulb. This projector is more or less bolt-on once you have the headlight opened. We're going to put that thing in there last just to show you how that compares. And again, we're going to be looking at this all in this Toyota Tundra OEM headlight. We've already got the lens taken off of it. It is a reflector-based headlight. You know, a lot of bad press when it comes to putting in plug-and-play type solutions, whether it's HID or LED and reflector-based headlights. So we're going to debunkify some of those myths today, and we're going to take a look at the glare compared to the normal halogen bulb, what you're going to get with the HID, what you're going to get with the LED, and how all of those results compare across the board in the same headlight when you're looking at a projector retrofit too. So if you're considering an upgrade, I think this is going to be a pretty useful video for you, and definitely worth watching. Let's get it going. All right, so first and foremost, the standard Sylvania H4 halogen bulb. We have this thing just hooked up right here in the back of this headlight. This has the headlight would come from the factory, very common setup. So as you can see, the light output is a pretty warm, you know, white light, if almost a little bit yellow, and certainly nothing too impressive as far as the performance and intensity goes. Very, very little glare above the cutoff line, you know, which is really going to be the biggest downside to those plug-and-play options, and we'll see how those do in comparison, but not much glare that we can detect here. So just like the last comparison that we did with these different technologies in a projector, we're going to do it the same way in comparing how the light is distributed throughout the beam pattern, because it's not all about the intensity of the hot spot, it's where the light ends up throughout the rest of the beam as well. All of that contributing to your actual ability to see where the fuck you're driving in the middle of the night. So let's go ahead and check our lux here. We have the brightest point in the beam pattern already set up in the lux meter, and hit me with a number. Is it 115. Okay, that's respectable. So stay there. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring our step over here underneath our Osram logo. Boom, step there. And what are we detecting for lux over on the side? Your head's in the way. Get out of the way. 17. 115, 17. Okay. 115/17 on the halogen. Respectable. I mean, definitely not bad numbers for a totally stock headlight. So next up, we'll go ahead and mount the LED in there, and we'll see how that one fares in comparison, both in terms of the central intensity, the intensity on the side of the beam, the distribution of light in the beam, and the amount of glare created above the cutoff line. In fact, you know what? Let's take another measurement too. Let's put our step, our hotspot on the first bar below the cutoff. And is there any measurement for glare here? What do we have for glare on this one? I'm going to put the cutoff right there. 9.5. Negligible. I mean, that's just pretty much ambient light in the room here.
Yeah, like cut the low bit, we'll see what happens.
This?
No, I'm saying cut it all the way out. It's probably still
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be any different.
Actually, it is. Down to 3.
3. Okay. So, I mean, 9. So we'll set that as our baseline for glare with the normal halogen bulb light above the cutoff line. LED coming up next. Easy to plug in. Easy to set up. All right, so we have the LED profile peak bulb installed here. We have a little bit more scatter throughout the beam pattern, I would say. The cutoff is not quite as defined as it was before, and I don't have a lux meter in my eye, but I would say visibly I'm detecting a little bit more glare. So let's go ahead and we'll take our measurements here, and we'll see how the LED does in comparison overall. I would say that this is representative of my step right there. 244. Okay, so 244 up from 115. That's more than double in terms of the hotspot intensity. Take my hotspot over here to Osram, and I'm on the step. What do we got? 35. What was it, 15 before? 17. Okay, so twice as much there on the side of the beam pattern. Again, still a nice nice hot spot. It's well defined, so I can see that it is still where we want it to be. I still have a pretty defined band of light across the top of the beam pattern. Well, let's check the glare. Again, that's always the biggest criticism of plug-and-play stuff. In a reflector housing. So I'm going to put my cutoff line just below that, and let's take our measurement there. The first baseline we got with the halogen was 9. 15. Okay, so about 50% more in terms of glare. But overall 15, I mean, that's negligible. I mean, there's really not much light above the cutoff here. 15 is more or less nothing. I mean, the ambient light in this dark room was 4, so I wouldn't really say that that's anything considerable. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. All right, cool. So next up, I'm going to get the HID bulb hooked up. Again, this is the XB series Morimoto. I'm going to need to connect a ballast here, and as far as HID goes, I mean, that was the clear winner last week. In terms of overall performance in that projector-based headlight. Projectors are awesome because they really allow you to control where all of that light is being distributed. The reflectors don't have as much capability as far as that goes. So it'll be interesting to see really how this one does in comparison when we light this one up. Of course, there's also a little bit more wiring involved with HID, so if you're looking for something that is the most simple, less components, that's also something to consider. Still plug and play, still quite easy to put in. As you can see, that only took me a few seconds. And we've got this warming up here. I'd say this looks pretty good. It's a Denso ballast, so it really doesn't take too much time to warm up. I think we're pretty safe to go ahead and take our measurements. See how this one does. So we'll take our first central measurement on the hot spot. I'm going to go ahead and say this looks already brighter than LED and for sure halogen. 900. Dude, that's crazy. 900, that's actually brighter than we get on a lot of projectors. So I'm quite impressed by that. Plug and play HID for the win right there. 900, okay, so first we were at 115 with halogen. Then we went to 245, about 244, 245 with the LED. And now we're at 900. 900. Okay, I'm just going to give that to you guys again. 9 Okay, that's pretty impressive. Doesn't look like too much glare here. Let's go ahead and take our second measurement under my Osram logo. Hotspot goes right there. And what do we got over on the side?
75.
75. So 75, what was the...
It's 35, so it's almost double.
Okay, so I mean 75, that's pretty solid too. First one was 15? 17, then we were up to 35, and now we're at 75 over on the side of the beam pattern. Again, I mean the distribution here looks pretty good. Really not too much glare. Very defined hotspot there in the center, and I can still make out the step in the beam pattern too, I would say. A little bit more concerned about glare on this one, but let's see what the measurement says. Again, I don't have a lux meter in my eyeballs to tell you the truth, so let's see. 34. Okay. So, I mean, we're considerably brighter throughout the entire beam pattern here, but in addition to that, I mean, we've really got a little bit more glare on top of the cutoff line too. I mean, 34 compared to the 900 lux in the center of that hotspot really isn't all that bad. I mean, that's only about 5% brightness above the cutoff line when you really, consider all of the numbers involved. So, all things being considered, I mean, I don't know if the camera can really pick that up or not, that glare above the cutoff, but it's really not bad. In fact, why don't you go stand over there in the middle of my beam pattern? Let me see if I can blind your ass with this glare. Let's just see. Just give me, give me your thoughts. Tell me kind of what you're thinking. So, how's that for you? Because the cutoff is on your chest right now. Is it okay, or?
It has a little bit of glare, but not. I mean, I'd say it's like a halogen headlight.
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad.
How about now?
I'm blind.
Okay, so I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, 30.
I can see the future.
All right, thanks. Thanks for taking one for the team on that. Now get out of my way. All right. So there's our HID comparison. So far, we're kind of on the up and up, guys. I mean, there's really not many downsides that I can spot here. So lastly, we're going to put in our projector. I'm going to have to pause the video for a sec while I get this thing mocked up. So let me work on that, and we'll go ahead and run the projector as our last point of comparison for you guys. All of less than 5 minutes to actually install in this Tundra headlight. Again, it's an H4 based reflector headlight, so it is among the easiest ones. I don't want to be too misleading. This is about as easy as it gets for a retrofit. But again, that only took a couple minutes, and look at the light output here. I mean, the distribution of light is the first thing that we're going to see from the projector retrofit that is superior to any of the options that we just looked at. As you can see, there is a very centralized hot spot right there that spans the center part of that beam pattern, which gives you that nice down road visibility. A good band of bright light across both sides of the cutoff line there near the top. Pretty sexy looking cutoff line there too. That bluish, aqua purple is going to give you that exotic color flicker when you're coming down the street as that bounces in and out of the field of vision of oncoming traffic. Good looking, and I would say that the width here, you can see, goes all the way over there, is pretty much unsurpassed. And that's really just the advantage of the projector, because you're not really relying on the stock optics of that reflector headlight at this point. They're more so just working as a mounting point for this projector, and the projector is taking over completely in terms of the the function of putting light out on the road in front of you. So let's go ahead and get our measurements here. Let's see the hot spot on this. Man, I'm afraid that HID kit in the stock one is going to blow this away in terms of the hot spot. 330. I mean, so 330 is more than twice as bright as that LED bulb was, and I mean, it's far brighter. It's 3 times brighter than the stock halogen light bulb. The HID kit in the stock reflector actually killed this in terms of that hotspot. But the thing is that that hotspot was so small, and it was so concentrated right there in that, tiny little center right around, the step. This hotspot is much, much bigger. I mean, you can see that basically goes from here in the center all the way over to here and then down to here. And therefore, that's going to give you a much, much bigger patch of bright light, to distribute down road. Overall, don't let the numbers mislead you. As I once said already in this video and several others, it's not about the max intensity, it's about the distribution of light and where that light is going. So overall, even though that hotspot was, 3 times brighter than this, the distribution in this beam pattern is going to actually allow you to see much better when you're driving at night. So let's take our width measurement here and see where the intensity is at. Right there. 81. Okay. So 81. 75. Okay. Yeah. So the 81 compared to 75, or 75 was our HID kit measurement in the stock reflector. This is 81. That is marginally brighter, but I mean, it's definitely solid. I mean, and as you can see, that's all the way out there to the far, far edges, which HID kit in the stock reflector would not be. What if I go all the way here to the edge? What am I looking at as far as that goes? 39, yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't even see any existence of the beam pattern this far out. So, I mean, in terms of that intensity, where we measured those other bulbs, it is brighter in that same position, but that width is going to exceed far, far out to each side, left and right in the beam pattern overall. Let's take our last measurement here, which is going to be the glare. I'm going to put my upper cutoff at the bottom of that notch there and see where we're at. 11. So again, almost non-existent glare. I think that our baseline was 9. We have 11 on the glare number here for. Yeah, I mean, it could be. So I don't think there's really no glare at all with projectors. I mean, projectors is going to be, non-existent. All of that light is being focused underneath the cutoff. I guess I shouldn't say that. I mean, the Mini D2S, it does have a little bit of a squirrel finder feature built into that cutoff shield. And I mean, a little bit of glare above the cutoff line is not necessarily a bad thing. You don't want it to be non-existent completely. And that's actually some pretty clever design in terms of engineering these different kinds of headlights, because a little bit amount of glare above the cutoff is going to help to illuminate reflective road signs as you're driving past them. But it's not so much glare that it's going to be an annoyance or dangerous at all to oncoming traffic. So don't look at glare as completely a bad thing. It's, like anything in moderation, it's safe there. So there you have it, guys. I mean, HID kit, LED kit, normal halogen, and a projector retrofit. Overall, for those of you who are interested in the best option, we're going to go ahead and give it up for the projector retrofit. Yes, there's more components. Yes, it's going to take you more time and labor to install it, but the overall results and the amount of improvement in your ability to see while driving around in the dark is going to be unsurpassed. Not only that, but it looks fucking badass. I mean, check out that headlight. That is much more modern looking, overall compared to just the stock bulb, stock headlight. No good there. So hopefully this was another helpful video for you guys. We definitely enjoy making these videos, and we will catch you next time.